Welcome to Cannabis Health Radio, where healing stories meet science. Join Reverend Dr. Robin Swan as she talks with patients and experts about the healing power of cannabis and other sacred plant medicines. Trusted information, real experiences, new possibilities for healing. Cannabis Health Radio starts now.
This is Robin Swan, and I'm here with Cannabis Health Radio, and this is where we share our stories of where we've been, what we've done, and how the cannabis plant has changed our life. And our episode today, 501, is a revisit from one of the serious rock star, OG, veteran cosmic rockers, massively intelligent, spirit-filled human being, Sharon Letts. She was on episode 15, which was many, many years ago. So she's been fighting the good fight for a long time. In that episode, the one thing that there was so much in that, but one of the things I took away, and I'm going to lead with this as the introduction to her, is the stigma is greater than the truth when it comes to speaking about plants as medicine, especially the cannabis plant. Now, Sharon has an incredible background as a producer and a filmmaker and a writer and an activist for cannabis, as well as, I believe you're also a nurse.
No,
you're not a nurse.
Not a medical professional.
But just fully indoctrinated in the medical situation with an incredible amount of knowledge. So, Sharon, I'm so happy to finally get to visit with you. And I just want to thank our mutual friend and the reason why we have this podcast, Corey Yellen, for bringing us together in the sky and the earth. So How are you this morning in Baja, California? And how are you doing? It's been 15 years since you were on the show.
Oh, wow. Has it been? I thought it was 9 years, actually.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Might
it's
be
2015. Okay.
And I was number 16, I think.
Oh, you're number 16. All right,
yeah.
God, we'll fire me.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
No worries. No worries.
Get rid of me.
I haven't listened to that show for many years. I listened to it again this morning, and it was pretty darn good.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of things I want to touch on in there. There's so many, you dropped so many gems in there. But for those of us who don't know you, can you just share on the front where people can find you and your research and the book that you've written and what you're doing?
I'm working on my book. Yeah, I'm not a procrastinator. I've never had writer's block. This book is taking me a long time to write. It's called Educated Stoner because in 1975, when I was 16, I was called a stoner. That's what I identified with until I was 52 when I got cancer, and then I got educated. So that's one of my brands is Educated Stoner. It's a series I've been writing for many magazines. But yeah, I was at 24 and had my own gardening company. I was president of a garden club. We were doing what I called outreach gardening. A local TV programming manager asked if I wanted to do a local access gardening show. This was out in Riverside County in Southern California. And so I've always had my foot in gardens. I'm a professional gardener, 17 years at that point. And then I got into television. And then I ended up in Los Angeles. And I ended up producing documentaries for PBS and for national TV. I was a stoner from the 70s, but I didn't know it as medicine. And because I was known in Humboldt, I covered the county as lead feature writer for the Times-Standard. And I was known in the county. So when I posted, on Facebook that I had lobular carcinoma, breast cancer, a longtime Southern Humboldt farmer and remedy maker, Pearl Moon, she was one of the original Pearl. We know.
We know something I'm tied deeply to the Humboldt roots. That's where my family comes from.
So I was in mainstream media in Humboldt, and then Pearl came to my door. She was so brave because I was in mainstream media, and she knew I had a voice. She knew I was progressive, and she said, "Here, take this. Your cancer will go away." And I was, "Really? Are you kidding me?" And so that night I didn't need a sleeping pill. Next day, no painkiller. You can listen to the first interview, which gives all the details. But I just felt like it was a calling. God dropped this woman with a voice in Humboldt and gave her cancer. And I was given the oil, and I had to leave mainstream media. And I eventually moved down to Baja California, where I still live, to do this work. And I have interviewed so many people. I think I've gotten my 30,000 hours as an expert just in interviewing and witnessing, because in this space, the stigma is greater than the truth. people have to witness it working in order to believe. And that's just how it's been. And I've been interviewing people for years, and now I'm working on my book, Educated Stoner, which became an autobiography. And so, yeah, I'm having a hard time finishing it. I would love some good juju sent out to me on that, because I need it.
Well, you're still living it. It's a piece of work that's lived. So, you're still in the process of living it. There were, I was listening to your episode 16 yesterday as well. And you said something that I really want to unpack with you, because this is something, as a practitioner, when people come to me with this, I'm like, I don't know. And that was that you diagnosed yourself with breast cancer. You didn't go through the allopathic channels. You learned on your own what was going on. You decided for yourself what it was, and you treated yourself accordingly.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I did go in for a mammogram. It was October. So I went in for a mammogram, and lobular carcinoma cannot be mistaken for a cyst. It's not a tumor. It shows up in a mammogram, which the tumors don't. They're evasive, right? It shows up in a mammogram as a distinct white spider web in your lobes. It always means a mastectomy, chemo, and follow-up radiation. It's a bad one. Only 10 to 15% of all women get it. And so when I saw it in the mammogram, the technicians are trained not to make any responses, but it was obvious what it was. My sister had just gone through it 3 years prior. And so when I saw it, and then the ultrasound, very clear, I started juicing leaf because of Dr. William Courtney. When I was in
Let's just stop right there, because you're going to say so many important things, and I don't want them to get lost in the whole thing.
Thank you.
So juicing leaf,
Yes.
so many people don't know what they don't know, and they don't understand that within the leaf itself, there are so many phytonutrients. There's so much good stuff. Yeah. And you could, while you're growing your plants, you could just harvest your fan leaves and juice those. And then you could juice everything. Okay, I just wanted to drop in.
I've interviewed MS patients who have gone off of 23 meds that go into remission. It's juicing leaf. But the thing is, I was fortunate and privileged because I lived in Humboldt County and the leaf was everywhere.
Right.
The problem with the leaf, the challenge with the leaf, is that it has to be fresh.
It's hard to get a lot of it. Yeah, it's got to be fresh. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And most people who are growing crops are not wanting you to harvest all their fan leaves while they're still in the process of growing the bud. So
yes. So anyway, so then I remembered Dr. William Courtney. He sent everyone at the Times Standard a press release when his wife Kristen went into remission with, was it lupus? Lupus, I think, about juicing leaf. And of course, my editor wouldn't let me run it. No one was allowed to write about medicine, even though California was a medically legal state, and we were in freaking Humboldt County. So, I do the math. I have no idea still. But anyway, I remembered. And so I started putting it just in smoothies, half-assed, no big deal. Chopping it up, putting in my green salads, no big deal. So by the time the first biopsy was scheduled, it was about 6 weeks of that, and part of the mass was gone.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So often I love that.
I know. And you guys have to read my full cancer story on my website. It's Sharon's Cancer Story. It's got its own page, and I have all the details.
And that's SharonLetts.com, right? That's your website?
Thank you, yes. Mm-hmm. And so the oncologist said, whoa, that's weird. And a technician said, oh, it must be a technical error, whatever. And so I bartered for 6 to 8 more weeks. And I said, I was given this oil. I'd like to do this oil to try. And then the oncologist tells a story about when he was in medical school in the 60s, how he was involved in a test for nausea for cannabis and a study. And they injected him with a high THC serum. And I don't know if I read studies. I read stuff that people don't know how to read. I've done this for years. I'm a research writer. So most of the parameters of these studies are ridiculous. You don't need a high THC injection to prove that it helps with nausea. In fact, I think most of our dosing is over the top, right?
Agreed
with that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so he told this funny story about he grabbed the ass of the attending nurse because he was so high and blah, blah, blah. But yes, it helped the nausea, whatever. But anyway, so I bartered 6 to 8 more weeks. I went home, did the oil. That at that time it was 60 grams, 90 days. That was 2012. It was about the same time Corey went into remission. And when I got back, it was gone. When I got in for the second biopsy, it was gone. So technically I was not diagnosed, but we know what the lobular looks like. We know it looks like a white spiderweb mass. So I don't have to. And
right.
then,
You don't need a doctorate degree to figure that out. And,
no.
and that's okay. So that is like you visually saw something and you were
Yes.
like, that is bad. I'm going to
Yes.
treat that. Right. So
Yeah.
there are people though that just feel like something is wrong in their body and they don't know
Yes.
what it is. And
Right.
they want to use cannabis. And as a practitioner and a formulator, it's a very sticky situation because not all cannabinoids are the same and they don't all address the same issues the same way. Yes and no. Like the variants actually, I think, having treated so many people, exist, but you have to have all of them that exist. So it's just kind of learn, teach. One thing that you and Corey had said in your other episode is that people don't read. They don't dig deeper.
Cognitive is gone now. It's just gone. They're used to sharing memes. They don't even see if it's real. I mean, it's just, don't even get me started. But the thing is, if it's the whole plant, I mean, the cancer was a saving grace. I think I said this in my first interview because I had thyroid disease since birth. DDT, thyroid disease comes from the mother in the womb. There's an actual study on that. I had all these problems all my life, and I was on all these prescription meds. And the bonus, and I've watched many people go into remission with cancer with the whole plant, the cannabis oil, which is an alcohol reduction. Rick didn't create it. He found it online. Right. It was a recipe called honey oil from the 70s. We used to smoke, but the whole plant addresses much more. So that night I didn't need a sleeping pill. Next day, no painkiller. Through our endocannabinoid system, as you know, all these more than 400 or so beneficial compounds, including THC, address everything. And so the bonus is all these other things went away. It really puts you in homeostasis. So if someone feels like there might be something wrong, I mean, when I help people and they do the plants, it's like you will feel other things happening too, because it puts us in homeostasis. It addresses all of our biological systems and rights us. And that's the thing people can't wrap their head around because the pharmaceutical industries only treat one synapses at a time.
Exactly. And also when you're bringing yourself to homeostasis, you don't need immediately these people feel something's wrong and they want to do 1,000 milligrams of cannabinoids a day through suppositories. And I'm like, just why don't you step down a little bit, go slow.
I know. Yeah. It won't hurt. It doesn't hurt though. That's the thing.
No, it doesn't hurt, but it's overkill. It's overkill.
It's overkill because we don't fully, know all these things. But yeah. But anyway, so on my 6-month follow-up, I got a letter. I still have the letter from the Humboldt Radiology Lab saying that there's scar tissue in that breast. They're assuming it's from a prior surgery. So that's what's left, is scar tissue. But I like to say cannabis was my gateway drug to other healing plants because I added chamomile.
Let's touch on that for a minute. That's some other stuff that you really, because that's what I am. I'm an herbalist, and I've compounded things like chamomile and oregano and all of that. And you told a story. Would you please tell it again, how you were having the issue with the THC and you decided to compound chamomile?
I was wondering if I was getting tolerant. This thing, you can see the hole on my forehead. This is the kind that kills you. This is the kind that takes over your whole face as a perfect circle of scabs. You've seen it, and kills you. This happened right after the breast cancer. So I've been keeping this at bay for all these years, since 2013. And I felt like I was getting tolerant maybe to the high THC formulation I'd been taking and using forever. So I found this study, or did I find it? I think I found the study that shows that in a laboratory study that chamomile has a 93% success rate of killing cancer cells.
And it also mimics cannabinoids.
I tell people $2 an OZ, okay? You don't need to buy the hemp. I'm sorry. People hate me for saying that, but it's true.
It's true.
Plus, it's calming. Now, I started doing the chamomile. I did a coconut mixture for anxiety because I was on deadline for 30 years. So I used it for anxiety. It replaced Valium for me, the coconut chamomile capsules. And then this thing was coming back. It goes away and comes back. It gets irritated and whatever. And so I didn't have any cannabis. I was out of the oil or something, and I made it out of the chamomile. And 3 things pushed out, more so than when I was using the...
And just so people know, so did you do the same recipe like you were breaking down cannabis, like you covered it with alcohol and then you cooked it down until it was just a tar again?
Alcohol
Same thing.
reduction.
Alcohol reduction.
In a rice cooker. That's how I've always done it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my brands in an essay I wrote for years and years for Weed World UK is called Kitchen Apothecary.
Oh, what everybody run to SharonLetts.com website and download Kitchen Apothecary, because I am sure that has got everything that you need in it. And that's what we're here to do at Cannabis Health Radio, is teach these people how to fish, man, how to take care of yourself. So you're a wealth of information around how to do simply that. So,
and for me, it was pragmatic. I'm a poor writer. I left mainstream money. Cannabis magazines don't pay. That's why I'm living, I love Mexico. I always plan to retire here anyway, but I'm living on the cheap here because the cannabis magazines don't pay. I, as a full-time writer in the cannabis industry, published internationally, different languages, cannot afford dispensaries. So I had to learn to make my own.
Well, you don't want to go there anyway because they kind of suck. So I would like us all to be able to step outside of the dispensary and be able to get what we need within our own communities and our own kitchens and help ourselves. So that's what you're obviously doing. So what are you up to now, Miss Letts?
So cannabis was my gateway drug to other healing plants. So I was in menopause with thyroid disease. Going into menopause is a double whammy. The hormonal depression, you can't touch it with antidepressants. It doesn't work. People aren't even aware of this. Women are not aware of how this is. And so at the tail end of menopause, I heard, this was several years ago now, I heard that it helps with depression, psilocybin mushrooms. So I started taking what I used to call in the beginning the size of a lentil. I called it my giggle dose. And on Sundays, I'd go in my garden. I'd take my giggle dose, my little dose, and I would garden. And I did that for several weeks in a row. Uplifts like nothing else. It was a game changer to get me out of that menopause, thyroid disease, hormonal depression rut. It really did. And so I started microdosing with that. And then COVID came. I got COVID. I have an essay on my Substack. Weed World published my first essay. Skunk Magazine published my second one. This was 3 years ago. I started microdosing for myocarditis. Myocarditis, the numbers globally went up after COVID. I first got a stroke. It's in the essay on my Substack. I highly recommend people to read it. And I was severe symptoms, high blood pressure. The stroke triggered the heart stuff, and then the myocarditis came. And I didn't have a heart attack, but I ended up, and I was still doing my chamomile capsules to calm. I was still smoking weed, even though people say that triggers cardio. It's just that high THC that we as a human species have upped. The plant overall, all the compounds in it actually regulates the cardio like everything else. I love that you're,
I'm like a little seal over here.
I love that you're emphatically. Yes.
Preach, sister, preach.
I know, right? So anyway, I never got a heart attack. It's weird because they took me to the ER in San Diego. I was living in Norte then. I'm way down in Baja now. But I was up in Norte, so they took me to the ER because all my grown-up friends said, it's time to grow up and listen to the doctors because this is serious now. You can't just do the plants, right? I don't have enough middle fingers for that one. But anyway, so they took me to the ER. And disrespected by the doctor. You can read about this in the first essay. I even named the doctor because the minute they saw THC in my blood system, they didn't take anything seriously. But I never had a heart attack. My numbers were so high. The intake guy said, my numbers were just like yours when I had my heart attack. They brought me in here on a gurney in an ambulance. You walked in, and I didn't tell them at the time, but I wrote in the essay, I even smoked out in the parking lot before I came in. And I had my chamomile capsules with me. I was taking them in the waiting room. But the MRI showed I had had a stroke and blah, 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 blah. So they gave me the pharmaceuticals. I can't remember the names offhand, but all they have for myocarditis, they don't have any cure. They don't have any treatment. All they have is a pill that allegedly lowers your blood pressure. It's actually a base anti-inflammatory, right? Because that's what's going on,
right.
It didn't work. It didn't fucking work. And sorry.
That's okay. So we could say the F word. It's okay.
So anyway, I was on this stuff. I was taking it like a good little girl, and I felt like shit. I was missing days. I was sleeping too much. I just had no life. I missed deadlines. First time in forever. And one day, my girlfriend posted on Facebook, my tribe who smokes and drinks Chardonnay in the afternoon, God bless them, posted that she was doing a rock painting party that day. And I knew there'd be 20 girls smoking and drinking and painting rocks. So I literally said out loud to God, fuck this pharma. I'm not taking it today. I've got the Sisters of the Valley. Kate gave me my first mushrooms.
Oh, right on.
Sister. I'm an honorary sister.
Oh my God, we have to have her. That's so fabulous. I would love to have her on this show. She needs to come.
She's awesome. She's so progressive and lovely. But anyway, yeah, I'm an honorary sister. But anyway, she'd given me all these mushrooms last time I visited the farm because they were doing that at that time. They're not right now. But so I said, fuck it. I'm going to do a gram of mushrooms. I'm going to go smoke weed with my friends. I'm going to paint a rock. I've got the rock here even. I should have showed it to you. And I'm going to drink Chardonnay. And you know what? Like the great philosopher Doris Day once said, que sera, sera. If I have a heart attack today because of these mushrooms, I'm going to go out happy. I'm getting full chills right now. So I did it. By that afternoon, my points were down by 30.
Wow.
They were down by 30. I did another gram the next morning, 48 hours, no severe symptoms. Blood pressure down to normal. I was blown away. I didn't know that was going to happen. And then here's Sharon Letts now writing about psilocybin mushrooms and cardio, and now they're looking at me like a new level of crazy. But I know my truth. And
I know because I've treated thousands and thousands of people, and my specialty is brain trauma and spinal cord injury. That was my thing. And so it was really obvious that cannabis was only doing so much for people. And then when I started introducing mushrooms, especially woodland mushrooms, like the azurescent more than the cubensi, like that grounding, that ability, that there is something, I believe that they go together because the mycelium is what it looks like the nervous system, right? You see it laid out.
Yeah. I listened to your interview with Ian, so I know about all the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great interview.
Yeah, well, thank you. So it definitely is. We are those plants. We are plants. And the more we can come into alignment with the plant people, and they want to help us. They're givers, and they give us life. So how are you treating you were sharing before we started that the health situation that you have right now? It's the cardio. I don't.
It's progressive. Sister Kate and I were hoping that the mushrooms, because the plants and the fungi regenerate tissue in your neurons and your tissue, everything. I went through a broken ankle where the surgeon was shocked that it healed so quickly because I replaced the opiates with cannabis oil, and he let me take. It was here in Mexico, so they let me have it in the hospital and everything. And I was supposed to have metal in my ankle for the rest of my life. And after the first surgery, and I knew something was wrong intuitively. Something's wrong. I'm having neuropathy issues in my ankle. Something's wrong. Can you please do an X-ray and see what's going on? My body rejected the metal. I think that was because of the plants. They had to have a second surgery to take the metal out. And my circular fracture healed so fast. So I knew, so Sister Kate and I were hoping that it would heal the heart. But what are you dealing with then? Just scar tissue. Just like when people use the cannabis oil to make the brain tumors go away, the scar tissue you're still dealing with. So that's what I'm dealing with. I think there's permanent damage with the scar tissue there, even if it did heal with the plants, which I believe it did, but I don't know for sure. I won't know until an autopsy. And I've got
Until an autopsy. I'm like, excuse me, Sharon. So let's hope that that doesn't come for a very long time because
well, I've got my ducks in a row. I've got a Dr. Benjamin Kaplan is going to look at my autopsy results. I've got key figures here in Mexico that are going to help that process. So, I've got my ducks in a row because I am forever teaching, even when I go.
I love that. That's such a beautiful, your life is such a beautiful gift for so many people. So sincerely, thank you for using your time on this planet well. And hopefully there's a whole lot more of it coming because you clearly have so much to offer.
Yeah.
So now at this point, since I know that you say that the plant itself, we're still dealing with persecution. We're still we're 15 years of persecution. Isn't that one of your books or your writings?
That's my updated essay. I had a 10-year anniversary essay I wrote for High Times called 10 Years of Persecution. I just updated it and sadly not much has changed.
Yeah, not much has changed. I think that because the recreation industry just came on so strong and then it was just...
We should have never called it recreational. That was our first mistake.
I agree. And that was out of our control. So and now we're getting rescheduled and the reschedule is not necessarily going to be better for people. Because
would you like my thoughts on Schedule 3?
I would love your thoughts because I don't think that people, and this is really important. So listen up, folks, because you think that a good thing has happened and that is not so.
No, it's more ignorance.
Yeah.
It's ignorance upon ignorance upon. So Schedule 3, in the first place, cannabis is not a narcotic. And that's what the entire schedule, no matter what number you put it under, it doesn't fit anywhere. I've traveled the world with my series, Weed Traveler. I have not been to any city, county, state, country, province where the laws are written to what this plant is and how we really use it. So the scheduling, it makes me crazy. I hope it fails. I think they're going to push it through. What that does is it gives it, making it a narcotic, even though it's recognizing it with medicinal value, it gives it to the pharmaceutical industry.
Amen. Let's say it again. It gives it to the pharmaceutical companies.
Yes.
And
yes, dispensaries are not pharmacies. They're not licensed for narcotics. Right. The world is going to change. I will remain illegally healed no matter where I am.
Right.
And the thing is, due to the botanical rules, this is when you guys read my lips, because no one's talking about this. The botanical rules have been set forth for centuries. Plants are a naturally occurring force, whole plant compounds. The pharmaceutical industry is not allowed to formulate the whole plant, and the FDA is not allowed to patent it. They will take it apart. We will only see compounds extracted for symptom relief only, because that's what the pharmaceutical does. They only treat one synapsis at a time. So it will all change. We will lose the whole plant. And I don't know what else to say about that. It's so obvious.
Well, I know what to say about it. Go to Sharon Letts' website and download Kitchen Alchemist, because the Apothecary, I'm sorry.
Kitchen Apothecary.
Kitchen Apothecary. Mm-hmm. And then become a Kitchen Alchemist, okay? Because that is...
It's a page.
It's a page
on my web. It's a page on my website.
It's a page. Okay, well,
it's also a series. It's also a series I've written for years for Weed World UK. So that they're all on their website.
There is one thing they can never do is regulate this plant completely. So they're never going to be able to stop people from growing it.
If I can add another spiritual layer, just as the indigenous people from where you come know that the sky, the earth, the water is not a commodity.
Right.
This plant is not a commodity.
Amen.
I'm getting full chills saying this out
totally,
loud.
because this plant will always regulate itself. I know, me too. That always just really lands in my heart and can make me even cry in this moment, because the magic of cannabis and the power that it has to heal us and sustain us is unmatched.
Unmatched.
It grows on every continent.
Let me add something to that. Take away the THC, which is so sexy,
right?
And it would be another highly beneficial plant that no one would give a shit about.
Exactly.
And that's the truth. Because I have people I know in my life who don't listen to what I say and will not do the plants and will always choose the farmer. That's just, we've been conditioned for so long. Plant propaganda's real. The pharmaceutical company is relatively new. It only started in the late 1930s.
Right.
And it was spurred by Rockefeller and his petroleum byproducts. And Rockefeller's father was a snake oil salesman. He sold a product called New Oil, said it was a cure-all, and it was petroleum jelly. And he was jailed for that. So this is the lineage that we're looking at.
Wow.
And so how they demonized plants was they said, the plants are too inconsistent. You need a standardized formulation that's consistent. And that's how they do it. And it's not true. The plants are more powerful.
Oh, yeah, because if you don't know what you're doing with the plants and certain funguses, they will kill you on spot.
That's true.
They demand a tremendous amount of respect.
Yes. But basic beneficial plants like I use in my kitchen apothecary, chamomile, rosemary, lavender, oregano. These are things we can grow in our gardens, and they are all highly beneficial. They all address all of our biological systems. They do the same kind of things cannabis does. Cannabis was just put to the forefront because of the THC. Right. And that's why I call it my gateway drug to other plants.
Mm-hmm. So is there anything else with what you're doing now and what you found and living in Mexico? So how are you navigating weed in Mexico? Like that's...
The Supreme Court decriminalized it because legislators in Mexico weren't doing their job. There was a bill that was pending for 3 years to legalize the plant here. And the Supreme Court said, you're not doing your job in pushing it forward. So they decriminalized it for adult use in the whole country. They left it up to the states to do ordinances, just like they do in the U.S., but the cartel will not let go of the plant. And that's what I get my weed from the cartel.
Of course.
And just to normalize this for you, the cartel is no different than the guy in the Hillston Humboldt that was selling illegally who had a rifle.
Right.
And the cartel controls a lot more in Mexico than the drugs.
And they give back to the community in ways that
they
people
are the
don't
community.
really understand.
They are the community. My
community.
town's very small.
Mm-hmm.
The cartel are my neighbors. They're selling weed.
Once I processed 20 pounds of El Chapo's weed for a little girl who had a brain tumor that was popping her eye out. And it was the dirtiest flower I've ever seen. It looked like dirt. It was Mexican brickweed to the hilt, right? But I pulled it all the way through. And you know what? That little girl, she got 2 more extra years of her life, and her family was able to go to Disneyland. So
yeah. It's not rocket science. It's making plant medicine is like steeping tea or infusing something in oil. It's very simple. And it's been made scary. We're made to believe, again, the stigma is greater than the truth.
Yeah.
Totally.
So is there anything that you would like to leave with people, Sharon, that you would?
Psilocybin mushrooms, okay, and THC in cannabis. People always talk about neurological aspects. They're full body medicines. That's my main thing now. The psilocybin is, I only take 1 gram once a week now. That's my maintenance to keep my cardio, and my quality of life is good. It's a progressive illness. I've slowed down a bit. I can't do as much as I used to. I don't travel for work anymore. I'm not on deadline anymore because that irritates. But it's not just neurological. And that's the thing I really want to stress, because there's so much, because it's sexy. Just like the THC, it's sexy. Like you get high and you get wild and your brain goes, whoa. It's a misnomer. They are full body medicines. They regulate all of our systems, not just neurological.
Truth. And are you working with people like one-on-one? Can somebody, if they were inspired, reach out to you? And
yes, I do. I do
clients?
I have a contact page on my website. I do consultations. I charge a $150 donation. I teach people how to make medicine if they're open. I have slowed down quite a bit. I don't have the wherewithal to do as much as I used to do. I'm more into protecting myself and self-care in these final years of my life. I love my home, my garden, my dogs, my friends, my little community here in Mexico. My life is very small now and very simple, and I like it like that. But I am here to help if someone needs it. People still reach out to me globally from all over the world asking questions, and I don't mind. I'm always going to be, once you know this, it's a calling. And
the plant takes you and you go with her. You don't say no.
Yes. Oh, let me tell you one thing. I was talking with an energy worker once, and my joke used to be, God took this woman with a voice, dropped her in Humboldt County and gave her cancer, right? And she stopped me in my tracks and said, no, that was your journey. That was the plan. That's what you're supposed to do. And I'm getting chills again. So it is a calling. It's divine intervention a lot of the times. You know it.
Yeah, I had no choice. Like, I left pro sports to do this. Believe me, I was having, like you, a much different type of career.
Oh my gosh.
Working with cannabis my entire life and growing up in a cannabis family. But there just comes a point where it's just, no, you will work for me now. So that's what we're here to do, to speak for the trees. So I appreciate your time here today, Sharon. It's been so nice to meet you and also to revisit with you here. Again, you can find her. You can listen to episode 16 on Cannabis Health Radio to hear her whole stories. SharonLetts.com is her website. And, take advantage of all this woman's beautiful knowledge. She's a pretty incredible source.
I'm so glad you took over this show. Thank you.
I appreciate
you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Cannabis Health Radio. We hope today's conversation has reminded you that healing is possible and that you are not alone. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with someone who may benefit. Every story shared helps bring the good medicine of cannabis to more people. For more episodes, educational resources, and community, visit cannabishealthradio.com and consider joining our Patreon family, where you'll connect with like-minded individuals as well as help support our work. A special shout out to Smarty Pants Production for their engineering expertise and creative support. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and keep advocating for yourself. I'm Reverend Dr. Robin Swan. Thanks for listening.